Good evening, I'm Dagan McDowell.
And I'm Brian Brunberg. Welcome to The Bottom Line.
Gone are the days of congressional hearings that seek dialogue. Now they're more like left-wing mudslinging displays where Democrats compete for clicks, attention. Exhibit A, today they smeared top immigration officials.
This hearing is just the start of a reckoning for the Trump administration.
Your rogue, out-of-control agency has hurt, hunted down, imprisoned, killed.
You have used your power to perpetrate great evil. I have just as much respect for you as I do for the last white men who put on masks to terrorize communities of color. I have no respect for the inheritors of the Klan hood and the slave patrol.
The fact that our government murders American citizens, lies about it, and then refuses to investigate or seek justice is beyond abhorrent.
ICE and CBP thugs are roaming our streets.
If you don't want to be called a fascist regime or secret police, then stop acting like one.
We've gone from ICE is the Gestapo to ICE is the KKK. And it gets worse. We bring you Exhibit B.
How do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just asking a question. You guys are always talking about religion here in the Bible. I mean, it's okay for me to ask a question, right? But let me continue on.
And Exhibit C, Congressman Benny Thompson smugly flashing an AI-generated photo of the Alex Preddy shooting, some rage bait there, created to inflame the mob, fake propaganda being used in a congressional hearing with no accountability.
This nonsense from today is the backdrop for a DHS funding battle that's going nowhere fast, even though Friday is the deadline. Shut down Schumer naturally, blaming the Trump administration. He wants them to, quote, lower the temperature. Has he checked on his own party lately?
Today's testimony made one thing very clear. For all the administration's talk of lowering the temperature, little meaningful change has happened throughout the country. The clock is ticking for Republicans to negotiate seriously with Democrats to rein in ICE and end the violence. The initial Republican response is incomplete and insufficient.
On the flip side, Senate Republican leader John Thune is checking if Democrats' bark is as big as their bite, setting up a test vote on DHS funding Thursday. Joining us now, Florida Congresswoman and House Oversight Committee member Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, just your reaction, what did you make of the spectacle and the kind of grotesque show that the Democrats put on today, castigating members of law enforcement?
This is the type of politics that the American people hate, and frankly, why a lot of people don't want to get involved. You can see for a fact that Democrats are pivoting on their very well-known position. There's historical videos of the Clintons, of Obama, of Schumer, all supporting law enforcement, all supporting deportations and ICE. And we know right now that the midterms are upon us, and so they're doing what they can to try to flip this. Now, as you know, Kristi Noem has stated that there are going to be changes implemented, especially because of the fact that there is so many people that are trying to instigate with law enforcement. And in some of these areas, specifically sanctuary cities, some of the more left-leaning politicians have ordered law enforcement to not assist and not help in ICE efforts, as a result putting these ICE officers and I think their own instigators and agitators at risk. And so I think right now that, unfortunately this is a game of politics, but it's completely wrong and certainly not the sentiment that's shared in my district.
So you can make speeches in a hearing, and that's what all these Democrats were doing. At the end of the day, they got to decide, do they want to delay DHS funding again? Do they want to shut down the government again? Or do they want to try to find a constructive solution? Do you think the overheated rhetoric is a sign that maybe they know they've eventually got to come to a deal? Or is it a sign that they're just digging in their heels even further?
No, they'd be happy to shut down the government until the midterms, which is why I made the decision that I did a few days ago to not block the DHS funding. And ultimately, President Trump basically publicly stated that he would champion voter ID, something that's very, very important to him, near and dear, not just him, but to the American people, overwhelmingly both Democrat and Republican. But again, you're seeing that Democrats, again, are obstruction. They want the midterms to go in their favor so that they can impeach and block the president's agenda. And that is exactly why, especially for some of our frontline members, I'm telling the leadership, you guys need to act on voter ID. You need to act on banning insider trading, because these are the issues that matter to the American people, and we have to do something that proves to the American people that we are worthy of their vote and their support. And so I think that these issues are all correlated, but you're going to see a continued uptick in some of these attacks as we near the midterms. And unfortunately, I'm not seeing a lot of these Democrats talking about where the money is coming from on some of these organized protests, and a lot of it's coming from China.
Would you brought up the issue of the SAVE Act, the requirement of voter ID. Here's what President Trump had to say to our very own Larry Kudlow earlier today. Listen to this.
We want to get the Save America Act passed. Save America is on voting. We want people to have voter ID. We want people to have proof of citizenship. And we want to have no mail-in ballots other than if you're in the military or you're sick or you're away or some reasonable but good excuse. No country in the world is doing mail-in ballots, or especially the way we do them. I mean, they send them all over the place. Nobody knows. It's totally corrupt.
Your reaction and what kind of pressure the House can put on the Senate with the SAVE Act?
Well, tomorrow we are passing the Save America Act, which is SAVE Act plus voter ID and proof of citizenship. That's going to pass overwhelmingly out of the House among the Republican conference. And then there's a certain parliamentary procedure that has to be initiated in the House in order to allow the start for consideration of the talking filibuster. And so this is really 100% on Leader Thune. I know for a fact the American people have told their senators what they want, both the Democrats and Republicans. I think the number for Democrats is over 71%. Even Fetterman came out in support of this, which we know that Fetterman might not align with us all the time, but on this issue, he's pretty good and hears what his own people want. And so, again, this is something that the Senate is going to have to act on. But look, I'm not going to hold my breath. If I did, I'd probably pass out before the Senate decided to actually do something. And so what I'm anticipating is if they don't do the right thing, we're going to have to stick it on FISA. FISA's must pass. That's the only way we're going to get it done, but we will get it done. And it's good that Speaker Johnson is on the same page on this issue, as well as the president so vocally supporting it.
Really quickly, I've heard a lot of talk about this talking filibuster, okay? And I don't even know if Thune's going to do it. Could it possibly, real quick, could it possibly backfire if you gave the Democrats a stage like that to do a big, heroic talking filibuster? What do you think about that?
I think the one thing I'm finding out about Senate is they're notoriously lazy, which is why they move so slow. And so, I mean, eventually they'll probably run out of life force in an effort to do that. But, you know, again, voter ID is one of the most important issues in the world. So even if, you know, you give them a platform, I don't care. I want it signed into law. And I think that if that's the way that you have to do it, then so be it.
On that note, lazy.
Power or lack thereof of laziness.
I know. Congresswoman Paulina Luna.